Hi, so welcome to another section. I believe you have successfully created your database and you have been able to pull the URI and have it saved somewhere in or on your computer. So, next thing or what we're going to do next is to kind of integrate that URI into our database. So, I'm going to head to my mouse pad where I have that copied and pasted, right? So I'm going to pick this and then head straight to my VS Code. Of course, that's the interface, the IDE we're using to of course, now if you notice, I already have that copied here. So, and of course, I've had that pasted, I mean to say. So it's already pasted here and all that. And then I call the instance, of course, the variable into the database. And that's why when, of course, when you um yeah, so I now I'm in the VS Code. So what I need to do is to paste it, but then I'm going to put it in the middle of a double quote and then paste it here. And of course, also call it, of course, it's a variable, and then have it put here to connect to this URI. So I'm going to npm run dev, and then of course, my server is running and boom, crash dev connected successfully. I'm going to change the name to crash from crash dev or just leave it as crash dev. Of course, because I've tried something like that and then it failed. Now, earlier today or earlier when we were in the live class, one of the things that happened was that we were having some issues with connecting to the database before we had network glitch. The error we had or what was generating that error response was due to the module of the password that I kind of imputed, right? So MongoDB have kind of updated some things that whereby if you're making use of um, a password that has to do with characters and numbers, MongoDB will require you to kind of encode your password so that it will not be vulnerable. So, for instance, look at this is the documentation with regards to that. Of course, when you go here, you can actually read through and all that. So, what I needed to do when I had that issue was just to go to my project and then went to network access. I'm sorry, database access, and then bring this guy down here a little bit so that you can see. So I kind of edited what I had, right? Just edited, and then since it was just a password, and then added new password, of course, and then boom, I was already done with what I was trying to do. So I auto generated the password, which I'm now using. Of course, if you check, you see that it's not the pass now 1 2 3 ads that we're using and all that. So it's just an auto generator. Of course, maybe you can actually have yours to be a bunch of gibberish like this, and as long as you can have it saved somewhere to use and any other time. So with this, we have successfully created or perhaps integrated our URI, which is our database, with our code. It means when we begin to interact, perhaps run some queries. When I mean run some queries, either you want to do find one, get by ID, update, delete, you'll be able to get access to the data and then manipulate or interpolate the data within the database. So this is that about that. So in the next phase, we'll just go through creating of models, and then I think that's just the last step to interacting with our data in the database. And then the next thing we'll begin to learn is how to query the database. Of course, the data are in the database, right? Like the ones we saw earlier. Uh, yes, sample data like this, like we had users and all that. But then, how do you put them here? Of course, I know we've talked about post request, post data, but then when you do a post request, it stops at the server side. But then at the server side is where we need to pick those data that are coming from the client and then have them saved in the database. So of course there is a query methodology in order to do that. When you're trying to get some data from the database, what do you do? Of course, you make use of your GET request. Of course, the GET request sends an HTTPS request to the server side, but then the server side needs to do some iterations or do some queries into the database, and of course, to get the data from the database. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next class. Thank you.